Today we continue with building your digital business card. Let's see this.
Welcome to the second CSS section of this course, where you are going to build a business card for yourself. And it's going to look more or less like this, though you're going to personalize it, make it your own, not only with your own information, but also with a beautiful color palette of your choice and a font that you like. So you are going to level up your design skills as well as your CSS skills, meaning that this is going to be a lot of fun. So let's just get started with it right away. Okay, let's start out by having a quick look at the basic skeleton for our app. As you can see, in the file system here, we have an index.html file, also a styles.css file, and finally we have an images folder which contains my avatar. It's a PNG file called pair.png. Now, starting with the HTML, it's just a very simple setup with the HTML tag and then the head tag, which links to the styles.css. As for the body, it has one direct child, which is a div, which will work like kind of the container for our business card. And inside of that div, we have an image tag, we have an h3 with my name, we have a paragraph with the title, and an h4 with the location. Moving over to the CSS, we're not specifying either margin top, margin bottom, left, or right, just setting the margin in general. These 20 pixels will be added on all four sides, on the top, on the left, bottom, and right. And that's simply because I want to avoid that these elements touch the edges of the mini browser. So, there's a problem though. As you can see, the image isn't rendering properly. It's just an icon.
Yes, we do images slash this, and we run, and we are good, then we done, and then
that is as far up. The image lives in the images folder in the current folder.
yeah.
That means that we can next trim. I'll see you there.
Right, we fight through. Hey, I just realized that I only need to take it's only take me around 2 weeks to 3 weeks to complete this course, because I already did the JavaScript part is from the last course. So I got one module. I finished it. How many module? So module 1, module 2. I'm doing module 2, but I finished module 3. I finished module 3, which is like 8 hours. And that 8 hours is, we did it in a week. So I'm assuming this 8 hours is also in a week as well. And then this module is going to be a week and a half. So we need at least 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Yeah, 9 hours. Like at least. Wow, this I would say at least 3 more weeks. So I was assuming we will be finished around a month and a half, or 4-5 weeks. So like a month. Yeah, a month and 1 week, something like that. But we should not rush it, but we should rush through this part because I already know all of this.
Okay,
right?
Now we're going to do a little bit of housekeeping here, because this image element actually has a serious flaw, because it lacks an important ingredient that all image tags should have, which is called the alt text, or the alternative text. And that is simply an attribute that is written like this: alt equals, and then inside of quotes, you are to write a description of the image. So here it could be, for example, Pierre Borgen smiling, like that. However, if we...
I think this alt text is for like when they read out the page for disabled person, people who has like a who couldn't look at website, so they have the machine read through website for them. So alt text is really important. Bro, you try to upload short. I should consider that, right? Because short is so popular now. Movie box life. Should I consider upload more short? Like I can, what I can do is like take bits of my life out and then upload it onto short. It might be good. It might be good because short gets so much traction nowadays, especially with Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Nowadays they change all to short. But I also I also want to stream because it's like a way that show. It's more like a way to build a community and like show later on if the recruiter want to, oh, are you active on any platform? I can show them this, or like I can show them my portfolio, or I can show them my GitHub. So so it's like it's okay. I would upload some short, but I would need to that means I would need to take some time off of my stream. Usually I stream for coding shoots. Oh yeah, exactly. So you want us to be like a screenshot of me coding, or you want it to be like a troubleshooting type, like I fix some code or something like that? To be honest, yeah, actually you're right. I have considered posting some short for a while, but I couldn't find time. Or like I stream for around 8 hours a day. No, maybe 6 to like 7 hours a day. Not eight. Before this, I was working on something else. I should consider working on some short. Do you have any like good apps to like edit some shorts? Because I don't have Premiere Pro. Let me check. App Store. CapCut. Right. Yeah. What should I upload first? Should I upload for my first short? Let's think about this. I would fixing code related. Yeah, but like I'm a complete beginner. It's like I can do like explaining stuff. Like, oh, what is local storage? Well, what is like local dot storage or something like that? I can do that. If I do fixing code, people would call me a scammer for sure. Like I can't. I can fix code, but like I'm a complete beginner. So explaining how I fix it, it might be hard. Like I might. DaVinci Resolve is best for a PC. I used that before, DaVinci Resolve, but I feel like it lacks. Like, for example, if you want to do a lot of effects, that app is like too advanced for me. The moment I open up is like color grading and stuff, so I don't use it, and it's expensive too, if I remember right. It's like $159 for like the when they release it. I don't remember, but I switched to Premiere Pro, but now I don't use it anymore, so I unsubbed it. Actually, I might use CapCut, like a TikTok video editors, is okay. It's actually okay. Nothing made for TikTok is bad. So right, upload some short. Let me note it in. I might be explaining stuff like a variable, blah blah blah. Variable, what's variable? What's this like? Object, what is like? Blah blah blah. Yeah, this might be a genius way. Okay, thank you.
Run this code now, you can see that seemingly nothing has changed. So why do we all write these alt tags?
All right, we move on to the video. I will. Let's see. Today, I might be able to get a few shorts in. Let's say 1 or 2 or 3, if I'm like
texts. Well, first of all, it makes your site accessible. Because imagine that a person who is visually impaired or who is blind is trying to visit your website. In that case, they would use a screen reader.
Oh, I can say why alt text is so important. Like, oh, why you never use H3 in your code or something like that. Hey.
Which goes through the HTML and reads it out loud to the user. And as for the H3 tag, it would be simple for the screen reader to read out loud.
Should I do it in like a meme way, or like a, how can I say it, like a serious way? I usually meme ways always like get right CSS and JS animation code. I haven't learned JS animation code, so I had learned it before, but I don't remember anything about it. Which one do you find like which one you always see on YouTube short, like CSS, JS, or HTML? I'm assuming JavaScript. Yeah, JavaScript is extremely popular. So I would assume it's always shown on YouTube short. Python as well. CSS sometime, right? HTML probably never. But we can start small and then we go big and bigger topics. But should we do it in like a funny way or like a? I think I would do it in a. Hey, thank you for the tips. Hope you have an amazing day. Right, I actually, Movie Box Life is a genius. I will do some short. Guys, check out for my new shorts where I can upload. Yeah, where I will upload a lot of shorts. And I will post it on my Instagram as well. Let's see how it goes. If it goes well, we will be doing short all the time, a lot of time. We will still stream, but I will try to squeeze in a few shorts. Try get time to edit it.
What that says, because that is text. However, for an image like this one, you need to add an alt tag to describe the image so that the screen reader has something to read out loud. And secondly, this also works as a fallback if your image doesn't render properly. Because let's say you have a spelling mistake in the source attribute, for example an extra R. Well, in that case, the image won't render, but the alt tag provides as a backup so that the user seeing this can kind of understand what was at least supposed to be there. And finally, writing alt text will your site rank higher on Google, meaning you get more search traffic. And that is because the alt tag most likely provide important metadata about the image so that Google knows how to use it in a search result page. And if your site is not accessible, it might be punished in the form of ranking lower. So with that in mind, let's look at how to write these alt texts. And the first thing you need to know is that you should not include, for example, image of, because that's simply not necessary. The screen reader knows that it is an image because it is an image tag. Secondly, it should be concise, meaning less than 125 characters, because a lot of screen readers will cut off after this limit has been reached. And finally, a trick you should use in order to come up with a good alt text is imagine that you are describing this image to a person over the phone. So let's try to do that with an example. Here we have an iconic image of Muhammad Ali in a boxing match, and one way to write an alt text for this could be just a boxing match. But it would actually be a pretty poor way of describing it, because there's so much more going on here, and you have plenty more characters you can use in order to describe it. So a better one would be two boxers in the ring, one lying down and the other standing up. That's a good factual explanation, but we're not quite there yet, because it isn't actually describing this iconic moment when Muhammad Ali knocked out Sonny Liston. So if you were to describe this over the phone, you would probably understand that this description is pretty shallow. So what I would rather write as an alt text for this image would be Muhammad Ali in the boxing ring screaming at Sonny Liston after knocking him out. That, in my opinion, properly describes the intent of this image, what the person who has decided to show this image on a website is trying to convey. Yeah. So with that example in mind, I want you to write what you think is an appropriate alt text for this image. Go ahead and do that right now, and then I will show you.
We do alt text. Alt. And then we do pair smiling. Black t-shirt and hat. Pair in black t-shirt. I should say, hey, come on. T-shirt and black hat, smiling at you. Smile at you.
I would write when you return back to me. Carol, the background is really plain or shorter. Don't worry about it. The most important thing is that you add an alt text and do as best as you can, and actually plumb.
Right, we fly through, we fly, boom.
The next thing we're going to do is shrink this image to a suitable size for our business card, because as it is now, it is far too big. So I want you to head over to the styles.css and solve this challenge. You are to set the width of the image to 150 pixels. And you need to use a class to select the image element.
Easy. We do img class equal What happened to my nose? Call this class image. Right, and then we do dot image, and we do width 150 pixel. Right.
So go ahead and give this a screen and word avatar.
We go, we go, we go, we go, we
Okay,
keep
now you're soon going to start
going.
building the layout of
We
this
keep
card.
going.
However, right now, the card kind of blends into the background. There's no separation between the card and the background. So I want to add a little helper style in order for us to more clearly separate the card from the background. And for that, we need to grab hold of the outer element of the card. And can you take a guess, what kind of HTML element do you think should wrap the entire card?
The freaking containers.
If you guessed a div, that is correct. And heading over to the HTML, you can see we are actually already wrapping the entire thing in a div. So here we have our container div, or card div, or whatever we want to call it. So what I want you to do now is to first give that div a class, and actually I think you should call it card. And then I want you to select the card class in CSS and give it a dotted blue border. This is our helper styles. It'll give us a little blue border around the element so that we can see how our card div kind of behaves. And also, as you can see from the design here, none of the elements touch the edge of the border, so it seems like there's some padding in play here. Let's just add 20 pixels of padding on all sides of the card as well. So go ahead, solve these 3 challenges, and then I'll of course show you the solution as well.
Get the div, cut div, class of something, class of. Oh shit. Dot cut borders, 20 pixel padding on all sides. This is going to be dotted. What color is it? Blue borders. Blue. Thomas. Is it right? Is it dotted and then blue? Dotted, blue. Let's do 5 pixel. Run. Yes. And 20 pixel on both sides. Padding. 20 pixel. Right. We are set.
See, by doing card border blue, see it comes ready to start part 1.chapter. So every single element go out on a tangent, learn a little bit more about this flexbox concept in CSS, and then return back to this business card project once we're ready to build a layout like this. So let's move on and learn more about flexbox. Okay, so let's say that you've built some kind of software as a service and now you want to sell it. Then you might have a page like this, where people can upgrade to Pro and they can choose the individual plan, which gives them 1 GB and no support, or the enterprise plan, which gives them 10 GB and priority support. Now, I've purposely not given any design to this example, as I wanted to make it as easy as possible to grasp. But hopefully, if you are to create a pricing page, you'd make it look a lot better than what we have here. So, you can see the HTML right here for the entire pricing layout. I've wrapped it in a div, and I'm using an H2, unordered list, a button, and so on. Now, let's say that you, instead of having this 1-column layout here, where everything stacks on top of each other, you want this 2-column layout, where you have the individual plan at the left-hand side and the enterprise plan at the right-hand side. Well, if so, we know that Flexbox will help us create columns, but if we try turning our container, this is the div with the class of pricing, into a Flexbox, you'll see that it'll break the layout, just as we saw in our business card example. Because what's going on here is that Flexbox takes every single item, that is every single direct child, and turns it into a column in itself. So we get a column for the H2, for the unordered list, for the buy button, for the H2 again, and so on. And this is obviously not what we want. It's far from this two-column layout right here. However, there's one hint to be drawn from this example, and that is that if you check out the unordered list here, you see that it has two children of itself, li elements, and those two are not their own columns. They are in the same column, stacking on top of each other. So it seems as if Flexbox only turns the direct children into their own columns. So the direct children are the H2 here, the UL, the button, but not the list items. And once we know that, we can use that knowledge in order to get to this layout. Because this layout has two columns,
right?
It means that our Flexbox container should...
Easy. H2. We don't do the flex. Do H2. H2. Display. Display. Flex. Run. Then we do. How do we do two columns? Column. One. How do I do columns? Columns in CSS. Column counts 2. This div dot pricing is going to have a columns 2. All right. Why does this has like a not on the same line? H2 padding top. ID equal contact. Do hashtag contact. This is going to be padding margin top. Margin top. It's not going to do it because this already has a
Well, we want this group to be inside of a div. So what was the code? Having wrapped one of the two groups into its own div. And there you can see, the for individuals plan now stacks up just how we want it. But the rest of the layout is still broken. So we need to do the same thing down here. Like that. Run the code, and there we go. Now our Flexbox container actually
Flexbox only display flex. Make it blocks. Make it blocks when there's like a direct child. I see. we do this pip div, then we do div, div, this, and then slash div slash div. Right, run this, CSS, break this out. We don't do h2 display flex, but we do div. Div 1. Call this ID plan, and then we do this ID. This is going to be contact, and then we delete this. Right, all right. We are good. Div hashtag plans, and then copy the same thing. We do div hashtag contact. What the fuck?
Only contains 2 items.
Should be not this, but more like pricing. 2, and then we do display flex. Display flex. Then we do padding, left, right, left. Left is going to be 20 pixel. Not that. More like the div padding. Let's do 20 for all of it. Pixel. That's good. Let's do 10. 10. That's good. That's good enough. All right.
This div and this div as a terms of to combo, so that you can use this to improve our layout.
Flex item container. This flex thing is good. It's nice.
Okay, we are back at our business card example, and now I want you to use what you've just learned in order to fix our card's broken column layout. Because you are going to make this card into a
try hard
2-column instead of a 4-column, which it is now. So it has the image, name, title, and location at 4 different columns. But instead, we want 2 columns, one for the image and another one for the text elements. So this challenge is solved in the HTML. As you know, we already have a display flex on the card, and the only thing you need to do is one change inside our flex box.
We do another div. Right. Div. Put all this in. Use what we have just learned to fix our broken columns layout. We do and wrap it in. Also, this is going to be in a div, right? You got a div, you got a div, You got a div. You got a div. Run this. Yes. 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 You also got a div. Slash div. Run. There we go. Because you want to break it out. Right? It's supposed to be, it was inline, and then you flex box it. Flex this. Flex the card, right? You flex the card, and then it's break the char element from going this. From going down, right? No. Yeah, it's breaking into two because the char element of this is this div and this div. Right, I see.
So hopefully you're able to do that. Go give it a shot, and then I will the pivot to a long way.
Utility class.
Okay, I think, looking at this example now, I gotta admit that I'm pretty pleased with this border 1 pixel dotted blue here. I think it serves a very nice purpose, which is to highlight for us how our card is being laid out on the page. So wouldn't it be nice if we could use that exact technique on other elements on the page as well? For example, the children of the flexbox container. That is, this image right here and the div tag. That would have been really neat. And we can do that by, for example, just copying this one and adding it, for example, to the avatar. See there, the avatar has got that blue border as well. However, wouldn't it be neat if we, in our HTML, could just quickly apply a class to
Flexbox basically turn. I need to read more about Flexbox. Flexbox, it's basically breaking it into block, right? CSS Flexbox, block, Flexbox, 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 Flex item.
any element. For example, this one. And it would get the same thing as well. So basically, the argument I'm making is that we should create a dedicated class for this blue border. And what that is a utility class, aka a class that only sets a single CSS property. So let me show you how this would work. Let's say that we, for example, want a class to make our text italic. Then we'll simply do class equals italic, like that. If we run this code, nothing is. Now you can see the name is in italic. Now if we want to reuse this, we can just do class italic here as well. Run the code, and the location is also italic. And if we want the entire card italic, we can even add the class here up on the container element itself. Run the code, and now this has been inherited down to all of these elements. And if you're a bit confused about what I'm doing here, it is simply adding two CSS classes to a single element. Do that simply by adding a space in between the two classes. Okay, let's get rid of these, like that, and delete this one as well. Now what I want you to do is create a utility class for the dot object. What I'm doing here, it is simply adding two CSS classes to a single element. Do that simply by adding a space in between the two classes. Okay, let's get rid of these,
easy,
like the thing we have here, and then give the class to both Flexbox children in the HTML. That is the Flexbox items you can see here and here. And also, I think you should give the same class to the card as well, so that you can remove this line 10 here. So go ahead and give this one a shot, and then I will show you how to do it.
Create a utility class for dotted borders. Right, we do dot borders. Dot borders is equal to borders 1 pixel. We do dotted. We do blue. blue. And then what we can do is dot borders. Right, now we run. Nothing happened. Just need a space, right? Oh, it's dot borders. Can I do this? Nope. To the two char elements. So we do
do it afterwards as well. Blue it and add it to this flex item and as a second as to the image element. If we run this code, you can see now both of these have the blue border around.
yeah. Easy.
Okay, with these blue borders around the flexbox children, it's pretty easy to see that our layout is pretty far from how we want it to be. Because here you can see in the card that there's some space in between the two elements, whereas in our example, they're
columns gap
crammed together and
columns
also
gap
pushed all the way to the left-hand side, whereas here they're kind of spaced out. There's some space on the left-hand side, in between the element, and also some space on the right-hand side. So they're kind of spaced out in a nice way. And now I want you to add that horizontal space around the flex children. There's a flexbox property that does this, and you've seen that, but it is a great practice to Google it.
We do display flex, right? Column gap. Columns. Column gaps. Let's do 10 pixel. Or we do 20 pixel. And justify add the horizontal space around the flex children. Horizontal space. Yeah, exactly. Column gaps. Justify content. Justified content. Justify content. Cascading. Start sheet. Try it. Justify content. Start. Centers. Yeah. Justify content. Centers. Right. Alright.
Then can you, and also we can do space between. Then all of the available space will be between the two items. Or we could even do center, as you've seen before. Then this is a soup design property. Great job. Let's move on.
Space around.
Okay, with these
Space around. Space around. Right, so it has like equal space, right? Let's rewatch that because this might be really important.
blue borders around the flexbox. No, you only need to add one content. A little bit of a weird name, I agree, but that's how it is. And
Justify
here we can use
content.
a range of different values, and the one we're looking for is called space around, like that. And now you can see both
Like you
elements
have-
now have some space around them. And also we can do space between. Then all of the available space will be between the two items.
So space around is basically every the space, the amount of space between each children is going to be the same. Space between, the amount of space in between is going to be max.
Or we could even do...
Right.
So, great job. Let's move on.
Easy. Move on. Center the cards. Right.
Okay, time for a new challenge. You are going to set a fixed width on the card and then center it on the page, because its behavior is a little bit weird right now. As you can see, if we enlarge the screen, the card gets enlarged as well, and that makes the spacing between the...
Width 400 pixel. Alright. Alright.
Elements look super weird, and then we also want the card to be centered on...
The card is going to be centered. Aligns content, centers. Wait. Width 400 pixel. Nope, this is not aligned center, aligned content center. It's margin left 0. Oh, auto margin right, auto right. We are good.
On the page. Now, that means that's enter block elements. Okay, purchase that challenge. Let's move on.
Right, alright.
Okay, now let's talk a little bit about CSS Inheritance. And why is that important? Well, CSS Inheritance
My leg
allows you
hurts.
to write so-called
I did legs day yesterday, and my legs hurts. Like, yesterday. So like the day before yesterday, I did some legs day, and my legs is kind of busted.
Higher code. And dry here stands for don't repeat yourself, meaning that with CSS Inheritance, you can write less code though still receive the same result. And that's a good thing, because less code means a smaller surface area for bugs. And it also means that you will be a more efficient developer. So, let's...
Oh my god, we make the rookie mistake again. We didn't stream on... Oh my god. Can I just do like a screen capture? No, screen captured.
Have a look at how CSS Inheritance works in practice. Here I've pulled in a Wikipedia article in our mini browser, a really wacky article.
Guys, I just made the rookie mistake again. I stream and I didn't display the I didn't display my screen. Just like, oh my fuck.
The dancing plague happened in 1518. In modern-day France, where either dozens or hundreds of people took to the street and danced for days without no one really knowing the reason. So this is really weird, properly documented from multiple sources. And here is an illustration. I have no idea what caused this dance epidemic, but I think the modern theory about their grains being poisoned by fungus that gave them the same high as you get from LSD sounds pretty reasonable. Anyway, let's not get too far into this rabbit hole. What I want to do is use this article in order to show you how inheritance works. So if we head over to the HTML here, you can see that we are using a bunch of different tags, H1, H4, H2, paragraph, and so forth. And let's now say that we want the text in this article to be aligned to the center and not to the left side. Well then, a very poor way of solving that would be to target the H row first, and then do text align center like that, and then the center
We
is
do
text.
flexbox.
And then we can copy that. We can do the same for the H2, and there you see the H2 is centered. And then we can do it for the paragraph like that, and so on and so on. However, This is not dry. We are repeating ourselves a lot here, and it's not necessary. Because since the H1 and the H4 and all of these live inside of the body,
we do
they will
flex
also
in the body.
inherit some properties like that are inherited. Something what we call all inheritable properties. You can see it's down to 19. If we scroll a bit down to 41 in total. Oh, that is quite a lot. However, you only need to care about very few of these. One of them being the text align that you just saw, and the others being the font properties, so font family, font weight, font size, and so on. And finally, you'll never heard of it. And then pick value you should set to the properties, but that's also just good practice. Now, some of these, just to warn you, are meant for screen readers or audio, for example, speech rate and volume and stuff like that, so they might not result in any flow question. And then when you have experimented with a couple of properties, I will see you back in the next Scrimba.
Right, we move to the next one. Next one.
Okay, now it's time for a challenge in the business card project. Because you are going to center the text inside of the paragraph and the H4 elements. And that is the paragraph right here, which says front-end developer, and the H4 right here. Because as you can see, both of those elements are now crammed all the way to the left-hand side, whereas in our finished design, they are aligned at the center of the name Per Harald Borger. So you can't center or left or... So you will only see the paragraph and the H4 change when you fix this. And the way you should do it is by only adding one property and then have inheritance take care.
We do text align, centers. It will inherit.
Of applying on that with where all of the HTML, both now and in the future, will live. So this might have second-order consequences. Perhaps you want to have a nav bar with a title that isn't text align center, but rather text align right or left. So actually, I think it's better to scope this to, for example, our card. We at least know now that all the text we currently have in our card should be aligned to the center. So let's do that instead.
Yeah.
Let's just remove it from the body,
better way.
paste it in here, and now we're not causing any unwanted second-order effects outside of the card of things. And there's rarely one right answer. There's just consequences for whatever choice you make. So
there's only consequences for whatever choice you make. That sounds like a good quote. There's only consequences to whatever the choice you make. Actually true. Like, there's consequences to whatever the choice you make. Hey, someone quote that in. There's only a consequences to the choice that you make.
Really good job doing this. Let's move on.
It's actually nice. Add colors. How many do I have left? 2. And then this. Wow, this take a while. 5 hours.
Alright, now the fun stuff remains, which is adding colors according to the specified design here. So this is a really rewarding little challenge that'll make a ton of difference as you'll go from this boring white layout here to a nice colorful layout. So you're going to add these 3 colors. As you can see, I've added the hexadecimal values for each of the colors, the black, the blue, and the purple. The purple is the border at the bottom here. The blue is the background color, of course. And then finally, you might wonder, well, what's the black? Well, that is actually the text color, as the text here isn't pure black, as it uses this shade of black instead. Now, you might wonder, well, how do I create this border at the bottom here? I've only learned how to create borders around an entire element previously. Well, the way to solve any problem when coding is to Google it. So let's just write border bottom CSS in Google. There you see a W3 Schools article. Click in on it, and here it has some code examples which we can zoom in on. Set the style of the bottom border for different elements. And here it shows us how to set the border bottom. So we do border dash bottom, and then, for example, 5px solid red. Well, that's exactly how we set the border itself except that we would omit this dash bottom in the property name. So you'll use the exact same technique you've used for the entire border, just with this extra word added to the end. So hopefully you'll be able to do that. So here is the design. And the final thing I'm going to do before I'll leave it to you is to remove these blue borders here, because we don't need them anymore. So let's head into the HTML. I'm going to mark the border blue utility class we've added. Do Command plus D. That enables you to select multiple instances of whatever you've highlighted. And then, boom.
Control
what?
Utility
class we've added. Do Command plus D. That enables you to select multiple instances
Control D.
of whatever you've highlighted.
Control D.
And then, boom. I'm going to remove it like that.
Wow.
Then also, we don't need any class in the div for this flex. To try to solve this challenge, let's now do it together.
Right. Add color to the card according to the design. We do this is background. Background. This is going to be black, blue, colors. Background color is going to be blue. All right. All right, and then colors going to be this black. All right, and then we do this is not the cut, going to be the purple. Where can the purple be? Cut. Oh, we can wrap it in another div. We do margin 0, padding bottom. Yeah, let's do this. All of this in. Div. Call this class. Purple. Then we do slash this, and then we do dot purple. Background. This colors. Comment that out. We do padding. Do 20 pixel. Let's see how it's go. Right, nothing happens. Do we run this? Yes. We do this. So we do 0, 0, 0, 0, and then 0 pixel, 0 pixel, 10 pixel, 0 pixel. Right? What the heck? Is it because of the margin? Padding bottom 10 pixel. Two pixel. Wait, why is it padding on the side as well? That's weird. Weird. Let's do the background color of this. Dot purple. we do background this, and then we would try and debug this. Promise. So it's more like on the side. So we do margin 0. It's more on the side. So how do we do this? Little bit padding bottom. This on behind of this. That's weird. Weird. How do I? Oh, borders. CSS. You don't want a borders. You want a line under, right? Yes. What is this? Dotted, groove, double, solid, mix. No borders. Mixed border. Border style. Solid down. Blue. Outset. What is it? Outset. No borders. Hidden borders. How do I do this? Stuff right here. Dot dash. Dash borders. Solid borders. A groove, 3D groove border, the effect, oh, ridge, groove, ridge. Try it myself. A mixed border, no borders, outset borders, an outset borders, style. Dot dash bridge, double. Nope. I'm assuming we need to do the borders, but how do we do the borders? Only on the bottoms. Only on the bottom. Only in the bottom. Border width. Specific width. Top, bottom, side. All right. Let's try border width. We don't do this anymore. Hey, computer, so slow. So slow. You are making me unproud. Computer. Come on, computer. So bottom, top, right, left, all right. Top 0 pixel. Right is going to be 0 pixel. Bottom going to be 10 pixel. And left is going to be 0 pixel as well. And then we do border style solid. Border style borders, commas. This is going to be solid, has a color, this. Oh, fuck. I come the whistle baby, let me know. Blue. What is it? Borders blue. Borders blue. Da, 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 da. Whistle, baby. Whistle, baby. Let me know. 0, 0, 0. Borders, colors. Run. Why is it not doing this? Border star solid. Solid. Commas. Right. We got it. We got it. We got it.
I'm gonna start Ben with this. Good job.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay, now I want to talk a little bit about fonts, because fonts are actually really important. Let's say that you, for example, have created a computer specialists company called Click Lovers. Well, you might want to think about which font you choose in that case. Or, if you're the owner of the Megaflix shop, you should also think carefully about which font you choose. Called Click Lovers.
Oh my god. Yeah, Click Lovers. And that font looks kind of slick. That font looks like a make. Oh, I'm a rapper. I'm a rapper. But look at this font. And the logo as well. I think they intentionally show this so this shop would get like get traffic.
Well, you might want to think about which font you choose in that case. Or, if you're the owner of the Megaflix shop.
Yes, Megaflix. Who named your store Megaflix? Megaflap. That's gonna be a better name. Like Megaflix.
You should also think carefully about which font you choose. Finally, if you are the head of the Wig and Pen Association, make sure that your font spaces out words correctly.
They intentionally draw this for sure. There's no way is supposed to be next to the end. No way. No way.
Now, these are of course extreme cases, and they're all from laughter. As you can see, Wikipedia has this very serious on the web, but fonts really matter online as well. Let's take Wikipedia, for example. Here is a random article about people who have died from laughter. As you can see, Wikipedia has this very serious, nice font, but if we change that to something like Comic Sans, you can see the text gives a whole different type of association. It went from being very serious, like this, to being more like a comic book.
Okay.
So when you are building projects, it's important that you choose a font that kind of suits your project. So let's move on to look at how it works technically under the hood. Because when you visit a website, for example Scrimba.com, you visit it via a client. That could be your mobile, tablet, desktop, or whatever. And what happens is that when you type www.scrimba.com into the URL bar, it sends off a request to Scrimba's server. And then the server says, yeah, okay, you want to visit our website? Yeah, of course. Here you go. And it takes everything you need in order to run Scrimba in the browser. That is the HTML, the CSS, the JavaScript, the assets, which can be images and videos and so forth. And then also the recipe for the font. And then it sends that back to the client. However, for some websites, they won't send you the recipe for the font over the network, because they will instead on their website use a font that most likely is already pre-installed in your client. And that is also called a web-safe font, meaning that the recipe for rendering that font exists in most clients. Now, of course, there might be some clients that don't have that specific font, but in almost all cases, it's safe to use one of the web-safe fonts without sending the recipe for it over the network. So what are these web-safe fonts? Well, here is an article on V3 Schools where you can see all of the web-safe fonts for HTML and CSS. So when you're using these, you don't have to send the recipe for the font over the network. Now, for our digital business card, we're only going to use web-safe fonts. But later down the line, you'll also learn how to pull in external fonts so that you can go outside of these 10 fonts, as they don't really give you a lot of flexibility. So with that in place, let's look at how you actually use a font in CSS. So in order to set a font, you first target normally the body, and then type out font family, and then the name of the font. And here you can see we've typed VE, and that triggers VS Code, which is the editor powering Scrimba, to come up with suggestions for you. You can see it doesn't only suggest Verdana, which is the font we want, it also adds a bunch of other fonts after it, all separated by a comma. So if we hit enter now, boom, then we've added what's called a font stack. And what this means is that if the browser finds the Verdana font installed, it finds the recipe for that font, well then it will use it. However, if it can't find it, if Verdana isn't installed in the client's computer, then it'll try to find Geneva, which is a pretty similar font. If it can't find Geneva, it'll jump on and try Tahoma. And if it can't even find Tahoma, it says, well, give me any sans serif font. And sans serif is a category of fonts. So here it's just saying, give me any font from this category. And there are mainly two categories, sans serif and serif. Here you can see an example of both of them. Serif fonts contain these decorative strokes at the end of the letters. You can see it here, here, here. Whereas sans serif is without those decorative endings. So sans then means without or not or something like that. You get the point. Okay, that was a lot of theory. Now it is your turn. You are going to set the font here to Verdana, and also make sure to remember to get the entire font stack so that we have backups in case the client doesn't include the Verdana font. So go ahead and do that right now.
Set the fonts to Verdana. Alright. Font family. Verdana. Run. Are we good? Yeah, we good.
Okay, hopefully that went to Scrimba. Verify that by removing it with our code. Because
we go continue. Of like 6, 7 minutes, 8, 10 minutes.
Okay, now it's time to learn about the shorthands for margin and padding. And you've actually been exposed to one of them already, which is that if you have the same value on the margin top, right, bottom, and left, you can reduce those 4 lines into one, margin 10px. Then the browser will take this 10px, 20px, this bottom, and the fourth then goes to the bottom and then goes to the left. So a div has a few styles applied up here, but down here we've used the non-shorthand way to set the margins. Setting some margin on the top so that the circle is pushed down, nothing on the right and the bottom, but 100 pixels on the left so that it's pushed to more or less the center of the screen, given that the screen is as wide as it is right now. So I want you to translate this into using the margin shorthand instead. Go ahead and do that right now.
Oh, easy. Margin is going to be 40 pixel, 0 pixel, 0 pixel, 100 pixel. Basically the same. We call this out. We use this and run this. We keep going.
Put a little bit beneath this. Okay, let's do this.
Oh.
4 lines into 2. Go ahead and give that a shot right now. A little bit mix it back to the funky ways. Or separate these two. With this in mind, can you reduce these 4 lines into 2? Go ahead and give that a shot right now.
Auto. Alright. Auto. Auto and auto. We do.
We have it centered, at least horizontally.
We go.
Used 4 lines into 1. So, great job. Let's move on.
Quick.
Okay, now you're going to take what you've learned about the margin shorthand and use that in order to reduce these 2 lines into 1. So you're going to replace the 2 margin properties with a single margin shorthand. And of course, after you've done that, the card should still be centered as it is now. So go ahead and give this one your best shot. Okay, let's do this.
Wait, replace the 2 margin property with a single auto top margin. So the standards, you want it to be place a 2 margin property with a single shorthand. Auto. Right? Run this. Stay in the middle.
So I'm going to start by removing both of these. Now you can see the card is aligned and margin bottom, because we're only going to set 2 values, and when we do that, each of the value dictates 2 sides, either top bottom or left right. So we'll set 0 as the first value. That means margin top 0.
0, left right, 0. We run. Wait, top, right. Oh, we just need this. It's not 0, right? Run. Okay.
And margin value, and we have.
Make it my own and share it here on Discord.
You have reached the final step of this card. So first, I want you to add your own information to this card. As for the image, you can just drag and drop an image over the file system here, and then link to it from the source. And once you've done that, head over to the CSS site and you can also, when you have palettes. So done, I want you to find a web-safe font you like and add it to your card. Go above and beyond, go crazy. I've created some stretch goals for you. Here, I want you to simply find other ways to personalize.
Alright, we do the recap. We will do the business card and upload it later.
No matter how much you ended up personalizing your business card, I want to say, well done. You reached the end of this section, so give yourself a pat on the back. You deserve it. And let's now have a look at what you learned. At the beginning of this section, you learned about alt texts on images, which is really important for accessibility. And then you learned about child containers in Flexbox, because we created this card as a Flexbox container and made sure that it only had 2 direct children, so that these 2 got their own columns. And then inside of the second column, you could add things on rows again, which is what we did here. That concept of only the direct children being the flex items and then turning these children into containers again is a critical thing to understand in order to create sophisticated Flexbox layouts. Moving on, you learned more about inheritance. This is something you had been exposed to before, but hopefully you have a more conscious relationship to this right now, as you understand how setting the text align on the card div, that is this one right here, makes that property applied to these elements as well, as they inherited the text align center from the grandparent, that is the div up here. You also learned about shorthands, and more specifically the margin and padding shorthands. Here we're setting the margin to 0 at the top and bottom and auto at left right, and it is a lot more compact than writing out margin top, left, right and bottom all on their own lines. Another theory to pass out.
Easy stuff. Right. We do we'll end the stream here, and I'll try to make some short, and let's see how it goes. Guys, check out my short on this same channel. Yeah, it will be good.